Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to another day of coding with Claude or doing stuff with Claude. We have a special guest today. I'm just going to adjust there we go. Yes, Richard Campbell of .NET Rocks and Runners Radio, and just one of the world's my favourite autodidactic polymaths.
And you have a bunch of those M's, like just one.
Oh yes, yeah. You are sort of definitely top three though.
Oh,
but no, yeah. Rich has just dropped in to see what we're doing, and
I would show. I'm home, which is really nice. I'd show you the view, except it's black outside because it's 6 in the morning here, or 7 in the morning.
It is because West Coast time zone. Yeah. So we're very lucky to have Rich here. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Yeah, welcome.
I just got to see what you two have been up to, because clearly it's been things.
It has been things. It's been, yes, we've been having fun.
We have. It has been, it has been simultaneously one, having fun, like working towards a goal, which is a piece of software that I think both of us would quite like to exist in the world.
Yeah, I love that.
And will absolutely be getting used in front of rooms full of people. So we both have a vested interest in it being quite good and not crashing. Yes. But also, it is, if your only exposure to the state of what is happening in the world of software development is kind of checking in on LinkedIn every couple of days, it is very easy to believe that the sky is not so much falling as being aimed directly at your head and will stop to empty your refrigerator, your liquor cabinet, and your bank account on the way out. Yeah. And yes, technology has always been prone to a certain kind of very loud extrovert set of opinions.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you could possibly do is to take those people and give them a magical machine which writes their opinions for them and puts them on the internet every 20 years.
What could go wrong, honestly?
Yes, it is very easy, as you know, I realized, because I found myself doing it, to form a particularly what's a good word for this? Pessimistic view of the state of the software.
You have to question people's motivations, right? Like,
yes.
Every so often, I deliberately try and swing a weighted bat. I do something hard, like go talk to a Rotary Club. So 25, 70 somethings. Yeah, and of course, everyone wants to talk about AI. And one of the points I made was there are only so many occasions in a given lifespan where there's a possibility of becoming a billionaire. And so as long as you can check any ethics or morals at the door, you might have a shot at it. And so when, often I'm looking at folks saying these things and going, are you trying to be a billionaire? You look like you're trying to be a billionaire.
There's a guy who, I'm not going to name names, but people will, anyone who's been following AI will know who I'm talking about. A guy who, like a couple of years ago, was living in a van and is now like one of the top 10 most important people in the world when it comes to AI and agentic coding and stuff.
I
leading the conversation. He has an opportunity.
Yeah. But also
snatch some of that for himself.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And hello, if you're watching. But
hi.
But I think one of the, let's influence in this is kind of retrospective in a way that important is whatever the opposite is. Future.
Yes. Right. He's influential. Whether he's able to monetize that is up for debate.
A lot of people in this space who have done something that made a lot of other people go, holy crap, whether it's a demonstration or a piece of software or a video or something. The question is, if that person decided, no, I've had enough, and they went and lived on a sheep farm from now on without an internet connection, would that in any way meaningfully affect the next iteration of what is going to happen here?
Yeah.
And I think, one, it is so difficult to predict with any, confidence what that iteration is going to look like. And two, when so much of the, hey, I've discovered this amazing thing, is something that anybody can copy and paste, and like, well, I can do that too if I have enough tokens.
Yeah.
It's like you can't keep the special sauce a secret anymore. The 11 herbs and spices are right there on the counter, and you can take them home and make your own.
One of the things that I'm really kind of slightly taken aback by, but also very pleased about, is since I did that talk at NDC, and it's been up on YouTube for a while, and that's like gotten me a little bit of, oh, there's somebody who's interested in this sort of thing. I have been getting a lot of DMs and LinkedIn connections and so forth from people who are building this, that, the other harnesses, or kind of there's somebody who's building a long-term memory tool, and I'm getting to see these kind of GitHub repositories that they haven't really announced yet. And see some of the stuff that people's building, which I am going to spin into a podcast. This week's a bit crazy, but I will definitely be starting doing, and it'll be a similar format to this. It'll be me and one or two people who are building something interesting that I think is worth talking about. But we will live stream them, because if I don't live stream things, I just don't get around to it. But that means
the deadline is powerful.
Exactly. But it does mean that we can have people in the chat. I'll try and be a little bit more kind of LinkedIn message and Blue Sky message and whatever to let people know that these things are happening further in advance. And then we can have people in the chat, and they can ask questions or offer suggestions and that sort of thing. Because it's moving incredibly fast, and keeping up with it is quite a challenge. And I think for me, if I keep up with it in public and talk to people and everything, I think that benefits me, and it benefits everybody else as well. So yeah, and I'm building a thing to kind of so I'm working on a workshop, but I'm also building a thing that I can talk about and show and share in the workshop that I think will be helpful. But actually, very important, before we move on to actually doing anything with Claude or anything like that, last week I was talking about a device for making tea, and I don't think I explained it very well. And so it's here, and I know Rich, unusually for the North American culture, is a tea drinker. So this is a fantastic thing. This was like £7 from Amazon, and it is, you have this little cage here, and you do that. So you've got your tea bag in your tea, and it's steeping, and so you do this, and you kind of open the thing like an amusement fair claw, and you put it down over the bag, and then you capture the bag like this, and then you can push this plunger down,
squeeze it out.
Clever. And it squeezes the tea. And then you do that, and then you move it over to the bin, and you just do that, and your tea bag drops. And honestly, we had one, me and my ex had one of these, and most of the kitchen stuff, I was like, yeah, you can keep that, I don't care. But this, the
claw goes with me.
No, it didn't come with me. I said, you can have the other one, but after sort of trying to survive for 3 months without it, I was kind of like, nope, I'm caving, I'm buying another one of these. And how often does that happen with these, lemon squeezers and all this sort of thing? So anyway, there it is, people.
That's important.
Let's see AI top that.
So I just talking about your session at NDC London.
Yes.
There's an interesting data point that I want to share, not because I want to gloat about it, but because it is maybe a counterpoint to a lot of the perception of the excitement. Because I pay quite a lot of attention to how conference talks do on the day relative how they then do when they end up on YouTube. And at the moment, I think that my talk from NDC London has got more views than any of the others. And your talk, you had a pretty full room for that, if I recall correctly, and there were a lot of people in there. And it's got 26,000 people have now watched it on YouTube.
Yeah, and I got 95 greens.
Yeah. My talk was about CSS, and the room was empty because no one gives a crap about CSS, except it's had twice as many views as that on YouTube now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so there is I think this is indicative of a disparity between the things people want to learn at a conference, where everyone, I think it's very public. They're like, part of the difficulty I have with, teaching CSS as a thing is everyone told their boss they knew it when they got the job, because no one's going to put on their CV that they don't know CSS. And so it is very, very difficult persuading engineers to get training budget, even though they can delete so much JavaScript using stuff they don't know exists yet. But yeah, it's just, I thought that was really interesting, disparity between the people who are in the room on the day and then what happens when it gets online and reaches a potentially much wider audience.
I mean, this is the search criteria angle too, right? Like people might be looking for this sort of thing, and there's nowhere near as much stuff. Goodness knows when you type the letters AI into any search box.
Yeah.
There's an overwhelming amount of material.
I found
I think also there's sorry. I think also people know that if they come to my talks in person, there's a frisson of danger because I could say absolutely anything, and people want to be in the room in case that happens.
David Whitney had a YouTube comment saying it's an edgy Dylan Beatty, and I'm like, oh
yes,
am I not edgy enough for you?
I saw Dylan's CSS talk on. Well, I saw 45 minutes of it on Saturday, and it is really good actually. And it's just, I did not know CSS did the things. I mean, it's like CSS does Sass now or SCSS. There's no need for that thing because
no, it doesn't do mix-ins yet.
It doesn't do mix-ins, but it does. So you've got nested classes and nested sort of stuff, and you've got variables. So yes, you'd need to really, really want mix-ins in order to still be using Sass.
They are
necessary build step.
Mix-ins are one of the best ways of keeping complicated stuff manageable, and I'm very much looking forward to having something like that native client side, so you don't need to do it anymore. We've got Adius Niche in the chat saying, I think Sam Altman's company is better. Do you make content on OpenAI too? No.
They've got a better Stargate project. So yes,
project at this point.
I'll be honest. Sam Altman is probably the number one reason why I don't use OpenAI. I find him slightly objectionable. Darius Amode is a lot more palatable as a human being. I am vaguely aware that Codex and ChatGPT 5.4 are very good, but revenue in it. So I'm not sure what's going on here with this person in the chat. Because now saying they have a better revenue and income pipelines. They have more venture capital. I'm not sure they actually have better revenue and income pipelines. They're selling ads, aren't they? Isn't it? No, I mean, Anthropic right at the moment, their revenue model is make Claude awesome for writing code and sell it to people who want to write code. And I think that's a pragmatic and realistic approach to monetizing the product. And then once they've got it doing something, people were using Claude Code for doing non-coding things, and Anthropic saw that and reacted to it, and now there's co-work in the desktop client. And then I think that one's for you.
One for you, Richard.
Answer is no. But work is continuing.
You know what you need to do is you need to just history of .NET, volume 1, and you ship it.
Oh, there are days where I'm like, I'm just going to start putting out blog posts and interacting with people on this stuff. It's trying to get the whole, history's complicated.
Yes.
And on average, I did a ton of interviews. You still pick up a few more every so often. And you're asking, I've got 4 versions of a meeting from 2010, right? It's all the same meeting, but if I'd asked those 4 people about that meeting an hour after they had it, they'd all have different versions of it. I asked them a decade after they had it, what they thought of it. And so none of them are the same. You kind of, right now, what I'm struggling with is just trying to pick a through line where, I've come to recognize like a half a dozen really important events in the history of .NET, and just making each one of those support the next one logically based on the various interpretations of those events. It's hard. It's just time consuming. And I'm not, there's points where I'm like, I'm not even worried about being right anymore. I'm just trying to make it coherent.
Absolutely. Yes.
Not actually contradict itself in the same page.
Yeah. No, I'm writing a book, but it is not technical and it is not factual, and it's basically nonsense, but it's hopefully enjoyable nonsense. So
I have had a moment recently, several times, where my thought process has been like, all right, well, if AI means that software development is now a starving job that won't pay the bills, but people only do it for love, that unlocks all the other things I could have done with my life that don't pay the bills, but you only do it for love. I'm like, I could write books, I could be a comedian, I could be a guitar player, I could do any number of things that don't pay the bills, but they're, on a good day, they're as much fun as writing software. So, which is kind of inverse liberation. It's like, oh, well, if this thing sucks, then I guess all of the other sucky things now kind of butting up against it. Anyway, let me.
Yes. Okay. So yes, but no, we're not going to be talking about ChatGPT or OpenAI or any of that sort of stuff, Claude, because we are specifically, this is about coding, it's about building software, and Claude is leading the way in that. So we're going to stick with it.
So I, up until this point, every minute that I had spent working with Claude was on this stream. Yesterday, I had to do some proper work, and I was like, I wonder if Claude can do this. And I went through the steps from the recent ones of setting up OpenSpec and giving it the developer persona and the QA persona and everything. And it did a remarkably good job. And the only thing it got wrong is that it didn't realize that there is a CSS template that is used in this project that has a gotcha in it that all your checkboxes become invisible unless there's a label next to them.
Right.
Which it got wrong. But to be fair, ASP.NET also gets that one wrong, and it's a bit of a dumb thing. And if I'd realized at the time, I wouldn't have used that front-end template on this project.
Yeah.
But it was, it's the first time I've thrown it at a significant legacy code base that was not spec-driven and does not have documentation, and been like, hey, this thing needs to do that thing. You figure it out. And it, went through with a couple of questions. And it was one of those, like, if somebody who didn't understand somebody without development experience and who didn't understand the code base would have very quickly got to the point where it's like, well, Claude says it's done, but it's not done because when I run it, it doesn't work. And it's just that last kind of the last, reminds me of that quote from Jason Gorman, Codemanship. AI will get you 90% of the way there, but if a boat gets you 90% of the way there, you still need to be a strong swimmer.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
Very much that.
Superb way of putting it.
But no, that was a very kind of interesting and also remarkable for me in terms of how quickly the stuff that we have been doing has become relevant and applicable.
Yes.
Which speaks to, and I don't know whether this is because I'm putting that on top of decades of experience or because it's just very, very good. And I suspect it's probably a little bit of both. Yeah. But no, that was interesting. That was like, oh, that's cool. I do not honestly know whether it was any quicker. It probably it took about, several hours, like 3-4 hours of going through and plugging the bits in. And like anything, I think a lot of the infrastructure stuff is done now. So next time it'll be quicker to get there. And but yeah, this stuff is good.
Well, and time's not the only metric either, right? The focus level or concentration or effort level matters too, because many times these things they're also easy to do, right? Like you can, I think we're sort of taking advantage of our ability to multitask, that we're kicking off a bunch of different things simultaneously and then circling through them.
Yes. The open,
I find, yesterday, when I got home on Sunday from Malmo, and I went for a climb, then I got home, and opened up Claude, and I had been using the getting shit done tool. I was just trying it out because after the NDC talk, people went, "Have you seen this?" And I was using it to build something, and it was amazing when I had Claude Max, because it created so many sub agents and it burned tokens. And I mean, it got shit done, but at great expense. And literally, I couldn't use it to do anything on the $20 allowance. So I added OpenSpec to that repository, and then went in and did the OPSX explore, and it found all the get shit done files and planning files and all those sorts of things, and it just converted them over to the OpenSpec format and went, right, do you want to do phase 3 then? And I'm kind of like, yeah. And I was kind of like, it had used like most of a session's worth of tokens, so I shut it down. But then when I picked it up yesterday morning, we blitzed through what was left. And the nice thing with that is there was a lot of WebRTC and a lot of kind of stuff about stun and turn servers and all this sort of thing, which is not something I've worked with before. And so, I wouldn't even have known if you've got like Office firewalls and NATS traversal and all this sort of thing, you need turn servers to proxy traffic, but stun's okay for home and so but it knew that. It knew that we needed to do that. I can look at the code, I can read the code, I completely understand what it's doing. It's installed a WebRTC package for Node.js from NPM, and I completely understand literally everything it's done. But the researching stuff would have taken a lot of time. And those unknown unknowns, I think that's a real strong point for AI, is it knows more of those unknown unknowns, even if it doesn't know about your weird CSS that hides checkboxes that don't have labels. The two of you together, know about that weird CSS, but Claude knows about turn and stun and WebRTC relays and all that.
And so far, you guys have avoided a max plan. Like, I had
a max plan from my employer. Okay. And I miss it terribly. And as soon as fingers crossed, I will have a job in the next couple of weeks. Right. But yes, as soon as the money is coming in again, I am upgrading to at least the $90 a month or $100 a month or whatever it is, because I have so many things that I want to do. Also, I'm going to be teaching workshops, and so that's probably going to require at least the $200 a month.
As soon as you hear the token conversation, I'm like, wait, not running a max plan? Because I'm talking to folks who are running 4 max plans because they're mad.
Yes.
You can hire a human for that.
Yeah. Well, and it's, the max plan is not profitable for Claude, for Anthropic, right? Like that's actually
absolutely,
I think one of the articles I saw recently says every $200, and this is American dollars, max plan is $5,000 worth of consumption on average.
Yeah. So use it while they're
how long does this last?
Fund is making it available. Yeah.
There are 2 interesting windows here, which at some point are going to close.
Yes.
One of them is they are going to have to adjust pricing. Now the cost of provision is coming down if we can keep setting up new factories to crank out more RAM and GPUs fast enough, which is a problem. So the cost of provisions coming down slowly, but also the venture capital is running out. And at some point there will be an equilibrium, and we don't know what that number is going to be. But there's also, you know, the entire time I have professionally developed software, the cost of software, cost of getting it built, starts off with, well, who's going to do it and what's their day rate? And you work around from that. And that is going to get, you know, at
that
some
gets
point,
really interesting.
The people paying for it are going to go, well, no, you can do this in 8 minutes. And you're like, yeah, but you can't.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, yeah, but if you can do it in 8 minutes, they can do it in 8 minutes, and they'll do it for half what you'll do it for.
I'm pretty sure that's not true, but okay. You know, there's still the skilled operator in the equation here. It's just the skilled operators being amplified.
And there is still that thing of, you know, that was true when you were quoting them a day or a week. I could do something in a week and I'd charge you $5,000. Somebody else could do something in a week and they charge you $500 because they live somewhere where that's a living wage. But there's a whole bunch of people going, you privileged git, like $500 a week isn't a living wage. So I apologize to those people, but I am old
the world
and very lucky.
The other reality here is there isn't more RAM coming, right? It takes 5 years to build a fab. So you've got to work. And one of the things that happens in a bubble like this is that you are highly incented to spend the money. Right? Like the investors do not want the money sitting in the bank. They want it deployed. So you do inefficient things. And you buy up as much as you can. And you're really not in a mode of optimization. You're in a mode of growth. So one of the upsides to the money starting to go away, and I think you're already seeing a motion in this direction, is it's time to be efficient, time to optimize. And these models are not efficient. They are big.
I think one of the things we're going to see over the next 5 years is if my $200 a month is costing Anthropic $5,000 a month, and then Anthropic go, right, so we have to put the price up to $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month will buy a top-of-the-line Mac Studio with the Ultra. And I personally, I'm not betting the farm on it, but I am expecting the M5 Ultra to have at least 768 gigabytes of RAM in it, if not a terabyte. The M3 Ultra has half a terabyte of RAM. And that is less affected by the competition because it's baked right onto the chip. It's on the same silicon. And Apple just go to TSMC and go, carve these things for us. And when you've got a terabyte of RAM in a Mac Studio alongside the 80 GPU cores and the however many NPU cores and everything, that will run DeepSeek, that will run Qwen 3.5's 900 billion parameter model. And those things are catching up to things like, certainly to Sonnet.
And then we play productivity games, right? Like now, I did this with on-site testing where when I shortened the testing cycle, the quality of software went up. And so I was able to spend more money on racks of hardware to speed the testing cycle up.
Exactly, yeah.
So same thing. It's like, I'm not getting you 1 Mac, I'm getting you 6 because I need you to move faster. And that's just a fixed cost, right? Like I can deal with that.
My 5 agents can all be separate Mac Studios, all just sitting on the desk waiting for their turn to look, working together through a GitHub repository. And one's continually reviewing pull requests, one's continually churning out code. And,
And now you're going to be tripping breakers in the office.
That's the thing. I'm going to be kind of claiming my electricity bill back from my employer because I'm burning kilowatts a day.
On the other hand, you're probably not going to turn on a heater at all.
No.
Every bit of those watts turn into heat. Just because it went through the spicy rocks on the way doesn't mean it didn't turn into heat.
Yeah. So what you really want is you want your 6 Macs sat on a rack somewhere in a room where people were paying for heat already.
That is it. Well, there was a point more 20-something years ago when we were building the house, and I ran steady at home work units on my rack to keep the house warm.
Yeah.
Because it worked.
But yeah, and I think there is going to be that divide as well between people like us who are, yeah, no, it is worth spending the money on the Mac Studio.
Sure, because you get the results.
Because that's, and it's dedicated and there's no contention, it's consistent. But Anthropic and the cloud people will still have the business of selling tokens or subscriptions to people who don't have that 8 hours a day, 5 days a week need for that level of compute, because they just want to sort their emails occasionally or go through their holiday photos and find the ones with cats in, or whatever it is that these things are doing.
There's also a question of the style of model going forward on a piece of software. Like, as a piece of software matures, the choice is narrow, right? I wonder if we're not going to end up building models specific to a mature piece of software that are quite computationally efficient because they're much smaller. We might be going out to the cloud when we're greenfielding on a V1 because we need a ton of compute to build the initial designs. But as the project matures, go in-house more and more because that's fast enough, and the changes are smaller.
Yeah. And in the same way that we're creating system prompts to specialize the model and say, you're a web developer and you know React and Tailwind, God forbid, or you're a backend developer and you know Go and C.
Right.
And yeah, we're doing that with a general purpose model that actually knows everything.
Yeah.
But there's no need for it to know everything. We can actually, during the training step, and also, if training is something that we can move that towards the consumer, and kind of you have a grab bag and I want this and this and this and this and this. Train me a model, and we can use kind of the that's one of the things that Apple's MLX framework is making possible.
We've had
home
examples
hardware.
of this
Is that
pre the GPT insanity, right? Like, it was very normal to have trained up a model that was good at image recognition of certain classes of images, and then you would duplicate that model into another system, and it wasn't good for anything else. It was focused on that. Like, I wonder if we won't get to a place with the language sets there. It's not going to talk a whole lot about an iambic pentameter, but it knocks Go out the window.
Yeah. And because a lot of the time, image recognition, what you actually want is person detection. So you can turn the lights on and off.
Or bear detection, if you're fortunate enough.
If you are.
The other thing I'm tinkering with right now is I've got a thermal camera, and I'm trying to discriminate the plumes of cetaceans on the ocean in front of my place. Because they're nice in the background water, and they're always sort of cone shaped.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I need to. I'll be back in a minute.
So we're going to pick up one question from the chat, and then we're going to hack some code here. So Dev F4F is noticing it's very mentally taxing to pilot multiple instances. This is something that I'm hearing a lot. Like, I've heard from a lot of people, the exact quote is always something like, I am more productive than I have ever been, and I am more exhausted than I have ever been.
And it's mostly you're in the supervisory role, which is a very sort of high executive function mind.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Because it's certainly, I've always, when I first got into this gig, you could basically do a 1-hour meeting and then type for a week based on what you'd agreed in the meeting, because we didn't even have object relational mappers. If you wanted to get a table out of a database and it had 15 columns, you're like, well, I'm typing all 50, and we wrote little macros and things. But a lot of it was quite sort of almost meditative, doing the same regular patterns over and over again. And while you're doing that, your brain is chewing on the next part of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how am I going to deal with this bit? And you'd pick up little things, like you'd pull a column out, you'd be like, hang on a second. This is an integer, but it's a price. What is that pounds or is that pence? And you'd catch things as you go along. And then, we don't do that anymore. We've got EF core or N-hyphenate or whatever.
You also thrashed in that model too.
Yeah.
Right? And people are all about the flow state, or just happily cranking away code, but you also get stuck in rabbit holes where, for me as the manager, it's like, that dude hasn't checked in anything in 2 days. Do you think on the third day he's going to have the greatest check-in known to man? Like, it seems unlikely. Right?
It's interesting. You saying that makes me realize I have never maybe once had a manager who could look at check-ins on GitHub. But for pretty much my entire career, the person who I've been reporting to didn't know anything about programming.
Right.
I've had people who were technically, very good on infrastructure and networks and kind of CTO stuff, and people who are just like, these are our customers, keep them happy, we'll pay you. I don't care.
Thanks for playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, it was always don't interrupt the programmer, right? Because that's like yanking the flower out of the ground to see how the roots are growing. It's stupid, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about GitHub. I was doing this with SVN. Like it was, and literally teaching these program managers, like, watch this console.
Yeah.
And learn the patterns of your people.
Yeah.
Some folks check in before every coffee break. Like that's just the way they work. Some check in at the end of the day. But if they haven't checked in for 2 days, now you can interrupt.
Yeah. No, we built a thing when we first rolled out Subversion. We're like, hey, let's email everyone when there's a commit, because that made sense. And then it was like, let's put cartoons in the emails so that people have a reason to read them.
Right.
And then people were like, actually, we don't care what you're doing. Just please stop sending us emails every time you do any work. And we're like, well, do you want to get kept in the loop or not? So.
Yeah, there's always an interesting line about what's enough information. That's not enough. Because, don't hear from me for 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, it's like, yep, not working. Thanks for playing. Like that's problematic too.
I've got an Outlook. I've got the Outlook Mail app on my phone, and Outlook on iOS has a maddening feature where if you don't use it for 2 weeks, it logs you out.
Right.
And as long as you're logged in, you get notifications about new mail. But if it's a mailbox that doesn't get a whole lot of stuff into it, what happens is after 2 weeks, it just stops pinging you. And you're like, I guess no one's sending anything.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, no, hang on. It just logged me out. And it's not a mailbox you log into actively every day because you rely on the notification in case there's anything important there. And that pattern is like, is it quiet or am I logged out again? I don't know. And I should not have to check that every 2 weeks.
That's not good.
Welcome back.
I think I'd build a little mechanism that every week pinged it so that if I had read it. Just, you're also hinting at a sort of cool reality, which is there's a whole lot of code that never gets written. There's a whole lot of projects that are never attempted because the barrier to entry has been so high. And you can see this barrier starting to descend.
Yeah.
I did my futurology talk at Beauty and Code, which was, I had such a wonderful weekend, actually. Met some really interesting people, saw some great talks. It was, lovely little conference.
It's a great conference, isn't it?
It's so good, and they looked after us really well as speakers. But yes, I was doing my kind of, this is what happened since I've started this job. What's going to happen in the next 35 years? And the AI bit, the last time I did this talk was 18 months ago, I think. And at that time, the AI bit was, it can't count the R's in strawberry. Right. And now it was just kind of like, so here's the bad news. Let's try. But as I was kind of like trying to work out how to be positive about that message, the truth is, there is an awful lot of software that still needs to be written. Mm-hmm. And I think what I actually said was, until we've automated everything and nobody has to do terrible jobs, nobody has to go down holes in the ground to pull cobalt out of it, or nobody has to go up cherry pickers on a freeway in the pouring rain at 3 o'clock in the morning, until we have done everything and we can all kick back and relax and enjoy ourselves, the job's not done. And so it's not we're all going to be out of a job. It's we can do so much more, so much faster. Mm-hmm. If people are sensible about it, that is.
Well, and I also wonder if we're headed down a path where we're each going to wrap our lives in our own software. I'm seeing this happening with developers where bit by bit, you're building more and more things around you just because it's so quick to do. And all that more automation responsive. The regular mortals may head down this path as well. Like we may have wrappings of software around everyone.
I did a talk in Australia at the end of 2023 now. I did the Yao tour over there, and the talk I was doing was about the impact of machine learning with parallels from, other disruptors, like digital cameras did not kill photography, but they massively changed the economics of that business. And it was very bad for Kodak, very good for photographs, that kind of thing. And I remember right at the end of that, I got a slide where I'm like, look, this is the stuff people want. This is the Amazon warehouse with the Lego sets in it. And these are the airline tickets. And this is the pizza. And we don't want software. We want that stuff. Software is how we get that stuff. And the people who have that stuff, they have to write software because that's the only way they can sell it to us. And I remember calling out British Airways as an example because their app was just horribly broken on that trip, and being like, British Airways don't want their app. They want to fly airplanes. They do not want to build software. Why can't they just put all their routes and their pricing models and everything, just put that on an API and you have your own agent that books your flights for you? And it doesn't need to be a website, and it doesn't need to be an app. It's just a thing you've got that does it. And, at the time, it was a very speculative, like, we might get here one day. Just imagine that. And, now it's... now
you can see it. It's over there. Right? It's just not that far away.
And it's like Markdown is the last programming language, and MCP turns out to be the final state of APIs. Everything's just an MCP server.
I got a couple of web projects coming up, and one of the considerations is, but you also need to make all your web content available in Markdown so the AIs can scrape it.
Right.
Or, WebMCP, they've actually got a standard for this.
Yeah. It's interesting, this idea that if you put information online, it could get scraped once and then no one ever looks at your website ever again. And then you need to be like, well, do we make money out of people looking at the website, or do we actually make money out of them acting on the information we gave them?
Right.
Because one of these, we're in deep trouble. And the other one, our costs just went way down and our profits can go way up. And I think a lot of people don't know. I think, Anyway, let's write some code.
Can I just one thing?
Any second now, we're going to tell Claude to do something. It's going to do something for 8 minutes, and we can go back to talking.
All right. Okay. Just let's do that, and then just remind me that I was going to say something. It will have gone by that point. I'm going to make a note. I'm going to use the Signal note to self feature.
Put it in the context window. All right. So we got to here. And so what we've been doing over the last couple of days is we got as far as we got a .NET application that doesn't work. Because why doesn't it work? So this has all been Clauded, all Claude coded, and what we got is a little WPF sync harness that we can load a folder, and this folder here is a folder that I put together, which has got a bunch of bits of music in it, different isolated tracks, and a couple of MP4 videos, and we can go open that folder. And now when we click play, I can't remember which screen I need to put the UI on to be able to close it. That's interesting. Oh yeah, this was the last thing we were playing with, wasn't it? Yeah. And so we've got as far as an app that can play 10 audio files and 2 videos at the same time, with the videos being sent to different physical displays, and the whole lot kept in sync well enough that you can use it for live performance. Wow. And even if one of the MP4 video files is in fact an empty text file, it does not destabilize the audio playback. Everything still stays in sync. So, and what we kind of, the approach that has been taken is we got Claude to be a requirements analyst and said, we want this. That spat out a spec. We then got Claude to be the technical architect and gave it the spec, and we're like, how would you build this? And answered a bunch of questions, and it came out with, do it for WPF, use this component for video, use this for audio, did all that kind of stuff. A little bit of toing and froing on some kind of, one of the weird things about this workflow that I've discovered is it's taking what would have been emergent edge cases later in the development process, and it's been unearthing them early. Like, what do you do if one of the video files is unreadable? And you're like, oh, well, I probably wouldn't have thought about that until it happened.
Right.
So it's interesting seeing that
but the tool brought that concern up.
What it did is I put in as a requirement. It asked things like, what do you want to do if one of the videos won't play? And I'm like, well, you got to keep playing the audio, because if you're doing a live show and the music stops, the show stops. But if the video stops, you can keep going. And it's sort of out of that requirement, constructed a set of questions about, well, what should happen here? What should happen here? And there are, it's the equivalent of when you're stubbing out a piece of code yourself and you're like, well, I don't know what this thing needs to do, so we'll get it to return 10 for now. And then later we can actually go and measure how wide the character is in this font. It's that kind of thing.
Right.
So let's, and that's done and that's in, and we validated basically the showstopper was if the audio and video won't stay in sync, then there's no point doing anything else, because then the thing is not usable. Hello, Curtains. Our guest is Richard Campbell from .NET Rocks and various other things, who is just kind of just hanging out and seeing what we've been up to, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so now somewhere in here I have a Claude. So something else for folks watching on the stream that might be a little bit interesting. I'm using PowerShell here on Windows, and I've set up a bunch of little functions in here, Claude Dev and Claude QA. And what those do is they run Claude, but first they change the terminal to a different color, so I don't get my Dev hat and my QA hat mixed up. So if I run Claude Dev from here, that should fail because I got Copilot to write the PowerShell, and it didn't like that. No, hang on. It's all right.
I'm not helping Claude do anything.
I'm in the wrong folder. There we go.
There
So
go.
Claude Dev is blue.
Oh, I see. The blue background came up.
Yeah.
So we're in Dev.
And if I open another terminal across here and flip that over to there and go into Claude stuff and do Claude QA. Claude QA should be, that's not a PowerShell terminal.
Right.
Dum, da-dum, da-dum. Typing remains hard.
Yep.
Now that's interesting. I know why that is. It's because the name of the prompt file. So we've got a Claude prompts thing in here, and that file there should just be called QA. Okay, so there we go. So basically what we've got, there's a detailed implementation plan in here, which the technical architect persona wrote for us. So there's a prompt file that says you are a senior technical architect working collaboratively with a product owner, etc., etc., etc. And that spat out the technical spec, which is this thing, which is lovely and chunky and detailed and has all the things, and an implementation plan. And what's happening is we're using OpenSpec to crank through the implementation plan. Now, one of the nice things is we can come back to this after a couple of days off and be like, hey, where were we?
Nice.
And what it should do is dig through the OpenSpec
changes. Mosey? Okay.
Yeah. Also, the developer talks like a pirate and the QA engineer talks like an English butler.
Excellent.
Because personas should have personalities.
Well, and it also is another cue beyond the color that.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very easy reminder.
Mm.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the fleece on for a reason, man. Living by the ocean will suck the heat out of you in a big old hurry. It doesn't matter how much the heating's going on. It's just kind of damp.
I've gone and turned the heating on.
There you go.
I got one of those smart thermostat things that I can control from the internet, and it occurred to me after about a week, hey, I can access my heating from anywhere, and so I opened it up and it could not connect to device. I'm like, oh, my house must have burned down, and of course it wasn't that. It was just the internet thing.
Yeah,
but it is, you get these weird little, when I first got a Wi-Fi connected, like bathroom scale, I was at work one day and my phone just went new weight recorded. And I'm like, what? I look at it and it's like, either like a burglar who weighs 72.4 kilograms is in my house, or the system doesn't work. Never happened again. Never worked out what caused it. But
wow.
Did you answer the "who is the new guest" question that's
I
popped
did,
up in
yes.
the chat? Okay, good, excellent.
Yes. Thank you, Eric.
I dare you to paste that into a PowerShell.
Let's see if it works. Post.ui.raw ui.window title equals developer. Oh, right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Add that to the script.
Excellence incoming. Open that.
Thank you, Eric.
Open.
Eric,
Thank you, Eric.
you are
That's
a pirate and a butler.
Except I refactored this. It needs the hat emoji. Yeah, the hat
It does
emoji
need the hat emoji,
will
yes.
go in. So what I can do is in Claude Dev, I can do that, and then emoji hat. Which hat was it? That hat? That
was that hat?
Yep, that's the one.
Yes. What emoji are we going to use for our QA persona?
Tears.
Did it just suggest something? It did. It suggested, is that a test tube or a ruler?
I think it's a test
tube.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Is that just VS Code's autocomplete Copilot?
That is whatever model I've got running in here, which is somewhere.
Well, I don't know what agent acted on my behalf at this moment.
I am unaware. It's Copilot.
Oh, what a world!
Running in VS Code, and it's probably running Claude Opus 4.5 is what it's running.
Yes.
I should say
so Llewellyn is asking, why does a pirate wear a top hat? To which I would reply, go and watch Disney's Peter Pan. Because Michael, it's either John or Michael, very definitely a pirate.
We don't got a hook, but we got a parrot or we got a skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
So you know what? Just embrace the power of rack 'em up.
All the emojis.
Why choose?
You don't have to choose.
All right.
Can I suggest if the QA is a butler, then you could add a cup of tea or something.
Yeah, a hand holding a platter.
Oh, what? A
yes.
person
There you go.
Yeah,
person in a tuxedo. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. And there it is. Micro 500. Great minds think alike. Hey. So, right. So Claude Dev did not change the what? No.
That's interesting. Because you need to rerun your profile.
I do.
Oh no, that still didn't do it.
No, it doesn't work because PowerShell sets it, but then Claude sets it again. And
right.
From please run this PowerShell. By the way, the thing yesterday about it's like having Einstein as a lab partner, but sometimes Einstein eats the pitch blend.
Yes,
I'm merrily hacking away doing real stuff, and it's all great and amazing. And then I type clear, and it thinks for a second, and then it just says the window has been cleared, and I'm like, you didn't clear anything. I can still see it all there, and it's like, yeah, clear. Do you want to proceed? Yes, and don't ask again for clear. And it's going, oh, and there, look.
Yes,
no. Well, that was great.
I think part of the issue here is that you're running this horrible kind of mixture of PowerShell, but Claude itself is running inside some kind of container, so it thinks it's using Bash and whatever else. Whereas when I run Claude, it's running on POSIX operating system as the gods intended. The gods in this instance being Eric Raymond and Richard Stallman.
Right. So we got as far as...
so yes, ask it to remind you about the plan for phase 5.
Okay. Remind me, what's the plan for the next phase? Now, the last phase, phase 4, it built all of the persistence logic for saving shows into files, despite not having any UI anywhere that we could use to verify any of that. So it's very much Claude did a bunch of stuff we can't run, reviewed it using a different hat, and said, yes, that all looks great to me. And we're like, okay, I guess. Now, let me just bring up the nice readable tool here. I'm going to open Typora, which is my Markdown editor thing. This is our implementation plan. And we are on to phase. So phase 3 is done. We've got multiple displays. Phase 4, .show models can be created, saved, and loaded. Well, apparently they can. Like I said, we can't do that yet because we don't have a user interface and there's no open, save, load.
But there is test coverage.
There is test coverage for it.
Right?
But at this point, either we assume it's fine and move on to the next part, or we have to review the code and manually verify. So this one, the full WPF operator interface is functional. Set list management, per channel level mute control, show file operations. Media playback is not yet wired to the UI. So the criteria for this one, a new show can be created and songs added. Songs can be reordered with drag and drop, per channel level sliders. The show can be saved to a show file. Unsaved changes asterisk is tracked correctly. That's interesting. We didn't ask for that, but it figured it out anyway. And the mixer controls are disabled when playback state is playing or paused, which interestingly contradicts this bit. Because if we don't have playback, you can't actually deliver that as part of this phase.
But hey ho.
Implement the 2-panel layout from technical specs section 11.1. This is where actually reading the technical spec might have been interesting.
Nobody does that. That's not a thing.
UI design operator interface. There you go. Oh yeah, there you go. That's your 2-panel layout.
I wouldn't be lying. It's not the worst UI mockup I've ever been given as a developer.
What do you want? Figma? Come on.
Yeah.
Pencil.dev. Oh, Jerky. Jerky, yeah. I'm going to go with Jerky. Was saying earlier on that they have been struggling getting the thing to create nice UI. At some point, I'm going to do a stream or a video about pencil.dev. But it's a really interesting looking kind of AI first alternative to Figma. So
all right.
Yeah.
So OPSX new. Yeah, let's do the thing.
That's the one you want.
Should we have a little look at pencil.dev while that's happening?
Yeah, we can do. All right. Phase, so you can choose phase 5.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah. That one.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you can now you can probably go off to look at pencil.dev.
Yep. 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 Yep.
But yeah, this is something that I think is very interesting. Is there are people who are using AI to build new tools that are AI first, and they're able to iterate on this really fast. And I think there are a lot of incumbents. Hello, Adobe, that are going to. They're going to need to react very quickly, otherwise it's
so
they're going to find people are eating their lunch for them.
I am curious here, as somebody who has been using computer design tools since CorelDRAW version 2. Is this actually going to be good enough? Because there has always been, particularly with things like Adobe products, programmers who use Photoshop are like, oh, I know Photoshop. I can clone Photoshop. And then you show it to someone who actually knows how to use Photoshop. They're like, what is this? Like, we can't work with this. This doesn't have...
Watching someone who knows how to use layers and things properly in Photoshop, like, it's definitely a skill. But it's also a complicated tool. In the end, I didn't want to be good at a piece of software. I wanted to modify a photograph.
Yeah. Design with AI directly in pencil. Let's make that a little... Can we make that bigger for the folks at home? No, kind of some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, sign in with that. So this is one of those, like, I don't know what any of these options mean.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've basically got Pencil will surface some way of working with your Claude Code subscription. Sign in with, I would imagine, is going to take you to the web thing to authenticate it. So yeah, like your Claude subscription.
Yeah, I've installed Claude Code. I've started Claude Code. I've logged into
fine.
Claude Code. That's all fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about that then. But yes, and then those other things you would sort of.
I mean, let's do that. And
is there a
and that's the Claude Code installer.
That's
which you've already done. Is opening terminal just a way to indicate to it?
Interestingly, look at this. So it's
it says connected.
Okay, it's connected now. Because the thing that popped up said you have to install it natively. Do not install it in WSL. But then it gave me the bash installation thing, which isn't going to work.
Yes.
Okay. We just closed this. Are we done?
Yeah. Well, how many of those?
I guess so. Yeah.
That's
what it looks like.
It's one of those.
You only. Yeah. That's just letting everything talk to it.
Yeah.
Well, not everything, but those are certainly the major ones.
All right. Okay, let's have a look and see what is going on in our yep. So it wants to write the proposal for phase 5. Yeah. Do we want to just fast forward?
Yeah, just do fast forward.
Yeah. Okay.
So actually, can I, while it's doing that, can I tell you what I was going to say before?
Yeah.
Because I didn't forget.
Yes.
So this is just something that I think I saw something that sounded a bit like it was this in a limited way, and it kind of took root in my head. But when we are getting to the point where people are building their own applications, this kind of like highly boutique software, and to a certain extent, we're looking to kind of take developers out of that loop for a lot of use cases. And as an example, I was in the climbing gym this morning and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could point my camera at a route, at the colored things, and it would use an image recognition thing, and it would go, these are all the same color, therefore they're the same route. I could maybe kind of tweak it and so forth. And then I could give that route a name and I could record my progress on it and all that sort of stuff. So like a graphical photo-driven to-do list for the climbing gym. But rather than like downloading something and needing to use a computer, needing to use a Mac or whatever else, imagine if the thing to build the app and the app were the same thing. So if you want to build a mobile app, you kind of open an empty application and tell it what you want it to be. And the AI, it's kind of like self-modifying. And so you're using the app and you kind of go, oh, I want a new feature. So you turn on, almost like putting it into edit mode. And you can kind of like go, right, so what I want is a thing where I can point the camera and take a snapshot, and then it will highlight the different colored routes, and I can choose the one that I want. And it just goes off and it does that in the background using some kind of Ralph loop. And if you're running this on iOS, then you're probably looking at using React Native or maybe Blazor, like Maui Blazor, some sort of thing where Apple are kind of like okay with you having dynamic UI and building these sorts of things. Somebody compared it to using like MS Access back in the day when people would dive in and build their own sort of line of business applications, and they would learn to use Access. And kind of like, but Access was the thing that you used to build the application. It was also the thing that you used to use the application day to day. And I think, you can kind of go, okay, so there's desktop applications, web applications, and mobile applications. And you build like one of each of those and then build in the ability for it to modify itself. I think that might be an interesting way to go, rather.
Bizarrely, you talking about that reminded me of a thing from about the mid-90s, early 90s maybe, which was a thing from Domark called the 3D Construction Kit, which was a computer game where it dropped you into a basically empty universe that you could run around in 3D. And then you could flip it into edit mode and you could build stuff and then flip it back into game mode and run around and play on all the stuff you built. And so it was like a level editor, but it wasn't a separate application. It didn't have like an editor and a player. It was you run
Roblox.
around and I've never played Roblox. I don't know how it works.
It works like that. Yes, you build Roblox in Roblox. And people build, people have had commercial successes just inside Roblox. There was like a 16-year-old kid who made the most popular game on Roblox, which obviously was essentially Harvest Moon, but in Roblox. But yes, it had like in-app transactions, and he was making like tens of thousands of dollars a month in Robux. So this is kind of like,
Can you trade Robux for fiat currency, or is it?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Yes.
So yes, he did quite well. I don't think he's going to come out of college with debt. Put it that way. If he bothers with college at all, it's kind of like, what are you going to teach me? I already know how to create viral games in Roblox.
Well, you know how once.
Yes, that is the thing. Can you repeat that
for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, talk about peaking early.
Yeah.
Okay, well, while that's churning away, so this is pencil.dev. Which,
it looks very Figma-y.
Let's click run here.
That's not entirely clear what that did.
Thinking.
Oh, hang on.
So this is step one frame. This is some sort of labeled. This is what I'm thinking as I go through it. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. It's done it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So it is essentially Figma, but with like the Copilot side panel that's connected to Claude Code.
Yeah.
Which is using, I mean, I would, considering this is using your subscription, I would turn Opus 4.6 off in there because that's burning tokens.
Yeah. Let's do it in haiku. It's just colors. It can't be that hard.
Hello, designers in the chat. Please don't hate us.
Outrage.
Frank Haugen, don't worry too much about being an hour late. The vast majority of the first hour has been spent
pontificating,
but it's been absolutely lovely. And
now,
what's the hurry?
going, why do you need an AI to add rows to a table?
Because you don't want to think of funny rover names yourself. It switched itself back to Opus 4.6.
That's interesting.
And also, it's. Can you drop down that Opus 4.5 in the prompt window that I'm pointing? The light blue one, where you click the run button. So drop that down and change it to Haiku 4.5.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there you go. That's done it. That's sorted it.
All right.
Wally's cousin, Dust Bunny 3000. There's a movie on Amazon Prime that's just popped up called Dust Bunny that I am very tempted by. It appears to be about a little girl who hires a hitman to deal with the monster under her bed.
As one
all right,
does.
so we got.
All right.
So now you can go and read your proposal and design.
So now, if we jump over into Typora and we go into OpenSpec changes, phase 5. So there's the proposal. The Video Jam engine layers, audio-video display persistence, are fully built and tested, but there is no graphical interface. The application cannot be operated by a human. Phase 5 delivers the complete WPF operator shell. All right, main window, a main view model, a setlist panel, bound to the loaded show, drag and drop reordering, mixer panel, per channel level sliders, and mute toggles. File new open save as. Yep.
I'm stealing the comment from the chat there, but is this the point where you need a UX persona?
So I am. I'm building a thing at the moment, actually. I've been sort of pushing this idea of personas, and there's 2 ways you can use it. You can do the sort of system prompt thing, but there's also getting Claude to manage sub-agents, and you have like a .claude/agents/ and then within there you have different personas. But yes, I am building a thing. Working title is Team Builder, and it's an opinionated set of Claude skills that talk you through creating the various personas. And so when you're starting a new project, the first thing you do is create the analyst persona to gather the requirements. And then you use the analyst.
Hot pink in the font is Comic Sans.
But you use the analyst persona to gather the requirements. Then you define the architect persona, and the requirements shapes the architect. And then the architect works with you, defines the spec, the roadmap. But the architect is the thing that would go, okay, we're going to do this as an iOS application in Swift using Swift UI. We're going to have a gRPC backend written in .NET 10 because that's the best implementation of gRPC in the world. And we're also going to use PostgreSQL as our database persistence layer. So then you do your next round of persona of team creation, and it will go, right, so we need an iOS developer, a .NET developer, and a PostgreSQL DB designer and admin and stuff. And so it will actually guide you to create multiple personas. And it could absolutely kind of break the Swift thing into, so we want an app designer who knows Swift UI, and we want a Swift programmer to do the plumbing bits, the view models and everything. But yes, this is, you end up with a merry band of whatever they are.
So just looking over this, so this is the spec for one component, one panel in the user interface. And it's so interesting to me that this level of verbosity So this is basically documenting the fact that if you click add song and then you click cancel, then it doesn't add a song and it doesn't change the state of the project, which is true and is accurate, but it's the sort of thing that we stopped writing down 30 years ago because it was obvious to everybody.
Yeah,
well, except software.
Yeah, and that's...
It is. I mean, it is reminding me of SSADM and Prince too.
Yeah, I was saying to somebody earlier today, what we basically got here is it's waterfall, but it's waterfall that doesn't matter because if it goes wrong, it takes 3 hours, not 3 years.
Yes.
And so you've got time to throw it away and do another one.
And this is also, I mean, this is essentially if we have a QA programmer, a test programmer, which is that's one of my kind of recommendations. So at Beauty and Code, Trisha Gee is it Gee or G?
G.
Trisha G did a wonderful talk about testing, in which she spoke a lot about how AI is affecting this. And somebody asked why you would use separate agents for writing the tests versus writing the sort of actual implementation. And my kind of thoughts on that is you create adversarial testing, which is it can be quite a negative thing to do with humans, but it's a perfectly acceptable thing to do with agents. Your job is to make the tests pass. Your job is to think of better tests that won't pass. And
that's
just
how you get Skynet.
Out of it. I know. I want Skynet. I want to live in a cave. Life would be so much simpler.
Do not incentivize the agents to kill the other agents. That would be bad.
It's easier to pass the test if the test generator doesn't exist.
My plan is to order an absolutely phenomenal amount of fuel and then get myself trapped in a Smith Toy superstore for the apocalypse. And just build all the Lego. I'll just live out my days building all the Lego and eating Huel.
Oh, Huel is such a terrible name for something you're supposed to eat.
Human fuel, I believe, is what they've done there.
Yeah, but it sounds like the noise it makes coming back up.
Yeah, it's Huel. Is it better or worse than Soylent?
Goodness. Although that reference is old enough now, most people don't know and haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't, watch the movie Soylent Green.
Yeah.
And Hollywood, honestly, how have you not remade Soylent Green? I mean, there's like 3 generations now who don't know what Soylent Green is.
We got another one. How's the history of .NET book coming along, Richard?
It's going great.
Hello, Surly.
Micro 500 says, if you live in a cave, at least you can still do bouldering. That is an excellent point. Yes.
What is a boulder if not a cave turned inside out?
Exactly. It is fun. Sometimes you're just kind of like walking around in the world and you kind of walk past a dry stone wall and you're sort of like going, oh, that's like a V4, V5. Yeah, I could do that. Just start carrying
one of
the chalk everywhere.
One of the interesting things I've done, I used to go skiing a lot and would go to a particular resort in France a couple of times. And I went there once in the summer. And in the summer, you get to see what all the ski runs are when they're not ski runs. And it's like, that one, that's a road. Oh, look at that. When it's not covered in snow, people drive up and down it. And that one, there's a golf course. And there's these, lovely, big, wide, flat pistes that I've skied, over 3 or 4 years. And you go there and suddenly you're like, that's the fairway on a par 5 dogleg. Oh, look at that.
So, yes.
It's doing I notify property changed.
Yeah.
I like I notify property changed.
There's something hilarious about the fact that Microsoft, was it .NET 6?
Yeah.
Added source generators to the C# compiler.
Yep.
And so we're barely 4 versions later, and it's kind of like, yeah, no, we don't need those anymore.
Really, Roslyn did that. But
yeah. Roslyn is far more... Actually, that would be fun. Writing non-deterministic AI-driven source generators
there you go.
and shipping them as NuGet packages.
Fun.
Yes.
Fun is an interesting word.
Don't yuck my yum.
I want to make the Spicy Rocks really, really busy for a long time.
So what I'm thinking the future of software development probably looks like is having a little terminal somewhere in a room where you do other activities, like having something in the kitchen. So just, Claude is running on the refrigerator while you're making risotto, or Claude is running in a workshop while you're whittling legs for your chair that you're making. Or
I have a buddy who's worked out the rig now so that he's just talking to his phone that's running the machine back at home that's supervising the agents. So he's out and about, and every so often his phone buzzes and he looks and goes, "No, that's not what I meant at all," and yells at the phone for a while and goes again.
Blog post I was reading yesterday, and it was kind of like, this is a photo of me working, and it was just a photo of legs and socks, and the person was clearly sitting on a sofa and just had their feet up and was keeping track of an army of agents. So Robert Lenders 8755 says reactive UI seems like the best way to write Greenfield WPF, and you are probably correct. And certainly, if I were building this in a more kind of making it a public project and putting it online for people to use and selling a pro version and all this sort of stuff, I might use reactive UI. I think it raises an interesting question about, is reactive UI something that matters for the end user, for the product, or is it something that makes the system easier to reason about for humans?
So why does
you're coming down the
UI
path of why aren't we writing everything in assembly code, right? When you're using these tools.
Yeah. So yes, it is this declarative composable thing. It's link for UI, so you can filter and throttle and all these sorts of things, but it's a code pattern. It's a way of writing code that makes it easier for other people to understand the code. And I'll be 100% honest, I've seen people take reactive way too far, and I have tried to understand what the hell is going on with an RX query that is longer than a screen. And so it can also get very messy. But I do wonder if things like reactive UI, like the MVVM, the community toolkit.mvvm thing that you can get will implement iNotify property change for you and all that sort of thing. But do you need it if the thing that's writing the iNotify property changed and the value converters and all this sort of stuff, if creating the artifact is quick, then where's the benefit to not using so many artifacts? And actually, is it even easier to go in the opposite direction and go do it the most absolutely brute force, basic belt and braces way possible? Because it's easy to read code, and it's like, you can replace. A friend years and years and years ago was learning C++ doing in an evening class, and asked for a little bit of help with ISBN number validation. And so I looked at the 12 or 13 lines of C++ that she'd written, found the problem and fixed it for her, and then just as a kind of PS went, here's ISBN validation in a for loop with no body, which just send this to your course teacher. And I got an email back going, my course teacher says I'm never to ask you for help ever again. It's just, but yeah, obviously the 10 or 11 or 12 lines of code is easier to read. And it's not even like the kind of concise version, the terse version is quicker to write anymore. It's possibly fewer tokens, but it's not enough to make a difference. You're talking about 200,000 token context windows, saving 3 or 4 here and there doesn't make a difference.
So I've just pinned a comment from Ben.
Oh, hi, yes, Ben.
Hello, Ben. I can't go back to not using my phone for development. It changes everything. I was reading about a thing recently, which I'm definitely party to, but this may be a generational thing. I don't like spending more than £50 using my phone. I will use my phone to order, takeaway or buy a round of drinks or whatever. But for something complicated like hardware or an airline ticket, that's a big screen activity. Right. Minimum laptop, ideally desktop.
Tell me you're middle aged without actually saying.
Yeah, is this just a thing that if you didn't have a smartphone until you were already 30, they are against the order of nature? Whereas people who've had them since they were teenagers are like, well, of course I'm going to do everything on my phone screen.
Sure. No, and I like there's definitely moments where I'm like, I'm going to go sit in front of the 43-inch 4K for this.
Yeah.
But I think
it's another thing that came up.
When you look at it from a software perspective, it's like you were going to yell at the developer anyway. You can just do it through your phone.
Yeah. I was saying at the weekend, the mouse. The window of time when the mouse was relevant has closed. We've got touch screens, but my youngest has completed Portal and Portal 2, including getting all the Steam achievements on a laptop with the touchpad. And I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that, but if you give him a mouse, he uses a mouse for Blender because it's easier for working with the 3D view. But he can play games, and I mean, he's like all the Steam achievements. I had to sit with him and do the co-op stuff in Portal 2 so that he could get the various achievements for that. But yeah, he just the mouse is alien to him. And and then I still remember, this is all within the time span of my career in the mid-90s, delivering the new Windows PCs and Windows software to people who'd been using like dumb terminals and 80 by 24 character applications that you can still see in travel agents, and that's about it. But yeah, and they had no idea how to use the mouse. And then now we have like late Zoomers and Gen Alphas, and they have no idea how to use a mouse. And it's just, I did not think that was going to go away.
Yeah, and may never know.
There is only one way to settle this. Quake 2, capture the flag, McKinley's revival. Mouse wins every time.
I do wonder, though. I do wonder.
I would take that bet.
I would put up certainly, me playing with a mouse versus a 15-year-old playing with like keyboard and, let's say, an Apple Magic trackpad. Something that's sort of a bit bigger and more ergonomic. I would say, even like Counter-Strike. I suspect they would be headshotting me with an AK-47 from across the map quite happily on their trackpad, while I was still trying to use the mouse wheel to zoom in with the sniper rifle.
As Ben has pointed out, I believe I'm older than you, he says, which I think is probably right, because
older
if
than
you
me.
go to the rather delightful bendecra.ai, there is a little weird note in here. I wrote my first program on an Amstrad CPC 6128 at the age of 8. I also wrote my first program on an Amstrad CPC 6128 at the age of 8. and that computer was only current for about a year. So there's not a lot in it. But I think Ben has just had a birthday and is probably slightly older than me, but not by much.
Yours is not till August.
Mine is not until August. Do you want to proceed? Yeah, I guess. Yes. So you'll notice what's happened here is that Claude has just spent 13 minutes writing WPF code, writing unit tests, running the unit tests, making sure everything's fine. Tests have failed and then changed from failing to passing, and we've just been chatting about whether it's okay to use your phone.
I was following it at one point. It wrote an abstraction for a particular call. So
I caught that it built a fake wrapper around the file picker dialog because there's no mock for that available in WPF. Do you want to proceed? Yeah. So this is the git commit message here. Delivers the full WPF operator shell for phase 5.
There's the first line.
Relay command, iDialog, co-authored by Claude Sonnet 4.6.
So do we want to let it commit this, or do we want to jump over to our QA persona and get it to review the change?
So I'm cool with the idea that we allow the developer to commit it to the branch, and then we get the QA to review the branch before the branch gets merged into main.
That makes sense.
And this should be on a branch. So let's just have a quick look at the Git Kraken and see where we are. And we are on a branch called features/phase 5 operator UI.
Nice.
So if we say yes, so this is the developer committing to the branch. And we can see there, that's all committed other than, that's fine. That's out of scope. Interestingly, those are out of scope because the developer didn't change them. So it didn't commit them. Okay, so notable decisions. Observable collection.move for drag and drop with 0 index shift. Does that mean it has 0 index shift bugs, or that there are bugs pertaining to shifting the 0 index? So this is the fun part. This is where we now flip over from the blue hat to the purple hat.
Nice.
And we go, good afternoon, because it's our English butler. And let's burn a couple of tokens on being civil, shall we? And it's calling me captain because the streams are leaking, because there's cross interference. And the butler believes that I'm the captain because the developer has been told to talk like a pirate. The developer has completed phase 5. What do you think?
Oh, sorry. I keep bouncing off and on job interviews and things. I have my final interview on Thursday, but
wow, cool.
Anyway, yeah.
Good fortune to you, friend.
So Jerky says, what's your phone development setup like? So we're going to get Ben on one of these streams at some point. Because we're basically like, hey, who do we know who's doing stuff with AI, and do you want to come on the internet and chat about it because it's probably interesting? And so yeah, we will have because I'm really interested in the people who are like, oh, I do all my development by talking to my phone, my Claude open Claude system over WhatsApp, and I'm like, I want to know what that actually does. Like, What's the context backwards and forwards, and what are you getting coming through that pipe, and what are you pushing back down the other end? And
one of the talks I've been doing about AI safety and talking about the GPT psychosis, and I use the line, the problem is the WhatsApp icon and the OpenAI icon just not that different. And like so the OpenAI icon is always happy to see you and always responds immediately. Well, now if you set up Claude Bot, you're actually talking to the WhatsApp icon anyway, so you can have your psychological break through the icon you expect.
Yeah. It is, it's funny how when you use something a lot, you get used to, like when Google rolled out material design across all their icons, and a number of people who are like, Google Calendar's disappeared. And I'm like, it's not disappeared, but it's not a little blue sheet anymore. It looks like all the other Google things.
Yeah.
And that, that was one of those classic, like they did this for consistency, and this proves why consistency is not actually everything that it's cracked up to be.
The light's up enough now. I can flip you to the outdoor camera if you care to see.
Oh yeah.
The marine layer is pretty hefty out there. But that's ocean. There are sea lions out there right now because the herring are running. So, but yeah, there's an island out there about 5 kilometers away. It's just the marine layer is wiping it out. You can't see it.
I still want you to adopt me.
You're trying to get
come for a visit at least, Cams.
Trying to get a camera that can detect the thermal plumes of like orcas and whales and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If I get this job I'm interviewing for, it comes with a travel allowance, and I can work 3 months out of the year abroad.
Nice.
So we could probably make that happen.
Probably make a few of those weeks be in the boathouse. We do have, a gig fiber connection out here, even though we're in the wilderness. So
I could definitely do that then. That would be brilliant.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah.
And then it's not like you're sleeping on a sofa here. You have your own house, so we can visit for dinner or not.
Yes. Luxury.
It's the way the kids come up too, right? Because like we're in the village now. So I'm at the point now where I'm trying to find a legal way to build another habitable structure on this property so they can all be up here at the same time and really be villagey.
All right.
QA has some concerns, it seems.
So tasks are completed.
Yeah. One critical issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That is quite critical.
Yeah.
So I am we should run the thing.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Now that we know all the critical issues, let's just run the thing.
So it's found a bunch of things that are apparently wrong. So let me spin up a terminal here, which is not going to be Claude. It's just a terminal. And cd Claude stuff and
I have a hard stop, I think, in about 8 minutes.
All right. I'm going to...
We are interviewing our friend Chris Ayers talking about miter attacks on .NET.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, we love Chris.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He has smuggled peanut butter M&Ms across the Atlantic for me. Because they are apparently unacceptable in European sweet shops.
Wow.
All right. So this is what we got. Now, every single line of code here has been written by Claude. I don't think I have modified any code anywhere.
I've been watching you the whole time, friend. You have not touched it.
New show. Okay, so there we go. Add a song.
Oh,
let's add that one. Cool. All right.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
That's not bad.
It's defaulted to muting the video files, but they are unmutable, which was an important thing. Big Chungus disk.
Yeah, Big Chungus is the 2 terabyte. Actually, it's not even spinning anymore. I think it's a 2 terabyte SSD.
One of these I got one of those sitting on the counter here on the desk. It's the shuttle between my Rode and my computer for moving recording files around.
All right.
So I would ask for it to select the song that's just been added as a kind of future change. Did you just drag and drop?
Yeah.
Comes for free, apparently.
That is some seriously shonky drag and dropping.
It is terrible drag and drop. You want the line thing, but that's a kind of this is iterative agile development.
It is, right.
This is where you'd be shouting at your phone.
But it is absolutely right that there is there's no.
What I'm going to do now. So one of the kind of fun parts of this whole learning curve for me is when it's time to be the human in the loop. Where do you do that?
Yeah,
and it seems to me like what I want to do now is I want to get the QA to put all its comments into a document, and then I want to edit that document and add my own things from the manual testing, the human testing, and see what it, and then pass that file to the developer. Save before continuing. Yes. What? There's no cancel here, is there?
Oh yeah,
you can do that. Okay. Save that as let's save this on where are we? Claude stuff. New folder in here. Shows first test.show. Okay. So let's close that. So now let's .NET run it again, and let's open that show and see if that works. Yep, and boom, and okay.
It still throws me. It still throws me when it does stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not perfect. Yes, it's made some silly mistakes. Yes, it's missed entire features and marked them as done. But, oh my God, it just built a WPF UI.
Mm-hmm.
It's replaced
and a nicely ugly one too. You know, like it makes me happy, really.
Yeah,
it's unthemed, but that's a matter of adding styles.
Okay, so back over here, and so splendid. Please put all of that into a markdown file so I can add some notes and give it back to the developer.
So you even talk like a butler to your butler.
Well, you have to. You know,
yeah.
Good Lord. We don't want the butler
Who's
thinking
the
we're
character
Americans
now?
It's that Tumblr post that Eli linked yesterday about the Worcester leaning out of the window shouting, "I don't want to be part of your beastly polycule."
That's awesome.
It did occur to me that at some point, like, how far can you push the persona before Claude goes, no, I'm not making a database engineer who's also a white supremacist. Like, is there a point where you can, it just goes, no, these people are not allowed to exist, whether they're real or virtual.
Although, so imagine like injecting kind of backstory into the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like you add a QA engineer with the prompt. At some point in their life, somebody has hurt them, but we don't know who it was or what happened. And over time, we want to try and find out.
You want vague emotional incompetence.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. So because I told it I want to add some notes, it says each finding has a captain's notes section beneath it for your annotations. Yeah, I've taken the liberty of closing with a brief acknowledgement of what the developer has done well. One finds that feedback lands better. It knows about the shit sandwich.
It knows about the shit sandwich. Yeah.
It's like it's feeding it to software.
It's making its own shit sandwich and then it's eating it with a different hat on and pretending this somehow.
No, the thing is, because we're using a completely separate instance, which has got its own context window. Cheers, Ben. Because it's got its own context window. Does it actually know that the developer is not a human being? For all we know, for all it knows, it's a QA bot for a real person.
All right, so what are we looking for? I'm looking for review.md, which will be in here somewhere. There. Okay, code review, phase 5. Yep. That one was legit. We found that one. It started putting underscores in again. We told it not to do that.
So you can add that to your notes.
Yeah.
All right, friends. I have to jump.
Thank you so much for joining us, Richard.
Enjoy.
Really cool.
Yeah, anytime you want to join, just let us know.
My pleasure. You know how hard the timing is, but when it came up yesterday, I'm like, oh, I just have to get up early. I could do that.
Yeah, that's been lovely.
It's been a pleasure. Great to see you.
Take care.
Have fun.
Have fun with Chris.
Bye-bye.
So we just need a... So there isn't actually a section in here about the UI, is there? Drag drop behavior, captain's notes. Drag and drop has no target position indicator. It's error prone with no indication where a track will, or a song will. Also, when dragging an item to the top of the list, it gets a weird 10,000 plus numeric prefix, which is probably not correct. All right. Please look at review.md and tell me what you think. Drag and drop is hard because it's one of those things that the difference between, it is very hard to articulate in English the difference between drag and drop that works really well and drag and drop that is unusably awful, because natural language lacks the nuance to get that right.
I have always preferred up-down buttons.
Yeah. Up-down buttons kind of suck if you want to move something like 11 places down, because you've got to go click, 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 click. I mean, drag and drop on like shuffling songs on a Spotify playlist works absolutely fine. You pick it up and it says, if you let go now, it'll go there, and you let go now and it goes there, and you're fine. Fix them all.
Okay, what's it said? Well, just go back up and see what it said about the. They're dead right. The better I included the global routing table, but the per song override expansion was skipped. Implement it properly or explicitly defer it to phase 6. See, this is the point at which I would go, let's defer to phase 6.
Yeah.
But make sure it syncs the spec.
Yeah.
Straightforward fix, confirm 3, returning bool question mark with yes, no, cancel. That's create from scan. Yeah, that did do.
This is where I find the conversational user interface a little bit like, what I want to do is say, skip that one, defer that one, fix that one. So defer C1 to phase 6.
Fix everything else.
No, so this one here, there's a, like, do we want to introduce another interface for the sole purpose of being mockable in a test, which is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. And yeah, it is now essentially auto-completing off the back of that sentence.
Yeah.
What's going on in chat? So Jerky is discussing drag to swap behavior with their UX persona. Rain.
So Rain, I presume eventually you want to use some MIDI control surface? No. Because then I need to take a MIDI device with me, and the point of this is to get it down to being able to run the whole thing. So what I've done historically, the thing that this is going to replace is using 5.1 video to mix a 5-track output So you've got lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass guitar, backing track left, backing track right on 5 separate channels, and then using an external USB interface to split those into 5 channels on a mixing console, which works fine, you know, but one, it restricts the number of tracks you can mix, and 2, it means that you've got to take a mixing console and a USB audio interface. And what I want is to be able to just have a laptop that does all of that. And, you know, MIDI control service is nice, but most of the time, this is not going to be it's not live mixing. It's you set up the track and then you just switch on and off whichever tracks you need for the people who are going to play the next song. So it's a very sort of, to somebody who doesn't grasp the nuance, it looks exactly like mixing a live show, but actually it's completely not mixing a live show, because the person doing the mixing is also playing the show. So all the mixing has to be done in advance because they can't mess with it while they're playing the guitar.
Yes.
Unless they have a giant mixing desk with big sliders you can control with your feet.
Which, you know, augmented reality, maybe at some point we'll be able to have an augmented reality mixing desk that you can kind of go, expand it, do this. But even
you know what would be cool is a button on the guitar that kicks in a Kinect powered effects loop. So like you can do wah-wah just by moving the guitar and going wow, wow.
Have you seen Nova Twins' bassist?
No.
She has got some kind of ring on her left hand, which as she kind of does this, it does wah. Or it does all kinds of like infinitely variable effect. Nova Twins, I swear to God, the number of pedals they have. There's a guitarist and a bassist, and then they have kind of like guest drummers. Nandi Bushell, the little drummer who like took on Dave Grohl and arguably won, so has done some stuff with them. But yeah, they have just this absolutely insane, like 50 pedals each on their pedal boards. But the bassist in particular has this thing on her finger that, and they're really, really good. You should check them out. It's kind of like industrial techno metal stuff with like bits of rap and bits of, it's great. I just love it.
And just looking at their
grime and
Wikipedia here.
Yes.
A bass-heavy duo fusing grime and punk. The band rewriting the rules of alternative music. First inspired by the music of Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
I love it when there's a complete change of direction like that in the write-up.
Yes. But yeah, Georgia South, she is phenomenal. Like one of the best bassists. To the point where you're kind of like going, does she really count as a bassist? Because the things she's doing with it are not the same as the things I do with mine. Not even close.
If you're playing a bass, you're a bassist, no matter what you're doing with it.
Oh, yeah. But it's kind of like there should be a qualifier that goes with it. Because it's kind of like bass wizard.
Bass plus.
Yeah, bassist plus. Bass plusist. But no, absolutely check. They kept popping up on my YouTube. They're now in my Spotify.
I'll check them out.
And they are gigging in the UK later in the year as well. I'm planning on going to catch them at somewhere.
So actually, Seven Rain, basically, these are the instruments present. Well, we can do that with a camera and an AI now. So we just have a webcam at the back of the room. And just like if you walk on stage, it goes, all right, what instrument are you holding and when are you hitting it? Okay, you're playing rhythm guitar. We'll take that out and patch you in.
Yeah.
And then if you need to stop for a moment, it just mixes it back in behind you.
So those Behringer mixers that we use, they've obviously got some sort of API because there's an app we can use on the phone that talks to the API on the mixer. So could we build something that talks to the API on the mixer to ask what instruments are present?
Yes.
What's plugged in? Is Rendell's bass plugged in? Is Hannes's guitar plugged in? Is Vaggy here?
I don't think it's just as good as knowing what's plugged in. It can tell you what patch is loaded, like what presets are loaded and which instruments have been named for today's show.
Yes. So, yeah. I know John Skeet, one of the things he did with AI a few months ago was using it to explore the controller interface for something to do with the sound system at his church.
Yeah.
That is something. And I used AI to read the Bluetooth interface and notes for augmented reality glasses and generate the Objective-C code to
there is
that.
A very interesting and a little scary kind of side note to all of this, which is language models are so good at interpreting, binary wire formats and reverse engineering protocols and stuff that we're going to get people doing things like, I've found a bug in the brake management firmware of a 2015 Toyota. And you're going to get like 0-day exploits for stuff that people don't think of as being software, because they're going to be able to be like, oh yeah, I decompiled the binaries that I pulled off my car. And Hannes, can you also make it select my correct MIDI patches in my HX Stomp over MIDI? Yes, we could do that.
I mean, yes, you could. And this is the thing. And this is, I think, one of the brilliant things about this is, we could put this up onto, because I don't think there's any intention of turning this into commercial software. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Oh, no, we are just doomed. We're completely doomed. Anyway, but yeah, we can bang this up on GitHub, and then other people. The really good thing is
that we're not doomed. It's all right. Look, it's gone 133. It's still not got it right.
Okay, but oh no, you managed to make them all three.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So here's an idea, right? Switch to the QA persona.
Yeah.
And tell it that happened.
Hang on. I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to go back to the QA persona. Yes. What are you going to suggest?
And I'll tell it that happened, or give it that screenshot.
Okay, so the last thing we asked the QA is, who do you think the developer is on this project? A brief pause, the faintest trace of amusement. Unless I'm very much mistaken, Captain, the developer is Claude, another instance of me. I am, in essence, marking my own homework.
Yesterday, hang on, let me see if I can still find the thing in my Claude.
Is it ethical to force AI to code in Objective-C? Of course it's ethical. It's not conscious. It can't feel pain. It doesn't experience fear. It just predicts the next token.
But if I thought it was in any way sentient, no. The problem was that the code was actually being consumed from Unity, and Unity doesn't work with Swift yet. The cause is in the XAML.
Okay, it confirms that is what
Hell's teeth.
Every song on the set list is just playing 3. They should read 1, 2, 3. The cause in the XAML, the developer used item control.alternation index to generate sequential row numbers, which is the wrong tool for the job.
Yeah. Yep. So yesterday, somebody that I met at the weekend sent me a recommendation that I should read The Machine Stops by E.M. Forster. If you don't know who E.M. Forster is, he or she, I honestly don't know, wrote A Room with a View and various other things. Possibly The Remains of the Day, I don't know. Certainly A Room with a View, though.
Edward Morgan Forster.
So
He's an
he,
English
thank
author,
you.
best known for A Room with a View, Howard's End, and A Passage to India.
Right, there you go. Oh, Passage to India, that was the one. And yes, so basically the three films that Merchant Ivory made in the 80s and 90s. But he wrote a short story called The Machine Stops in 1909, which basically predicted a world in which we all exist in, each one of us has a room and we never go out and we just communicate with each other through the machine, which just, oh my God. And then, but also, you know, the kind of the thing. Anyway, it's quite long, and I'm going to be honest, it's not well written. I find this sometimes. I'm reading sort of classic authors that everyone raves about. And I'm just going, but the actual sentences here are shockingly bad. What the hell's going on? And so I downloaded the PDF and I dropped it in Claude and I said, can you summarize this short story, please? And so it did. The sort of in the chaos and darkness, Vashti finds Kuno dying in the tunnels. They touch and speak for the first time without the machine between them. He tells her that survivors live on the surface and that humanity will endure. The underground city crumbles around them as they die together. The story is a remarkably prescient warning written in 1909 about technological dependency, the atrophying of direct experience, remote communication replacing genuine human contact, and the danger of systems no one fully understands. So I said, say more about the dangers of systems no one fully understands. And it noted that this is something that's quite relevant about LLMs and everything. And then I said, it's probably ironic that I asked you to summarize the story for me, isn't it? And it said, yes, beautifully so. Though I'd push back on the self-criticism slightly, reading the story yourself and then asking for a summary to compare notes or to surface things you might have missed is genuinely different. I didn't disillusion it. I was sort of like, no, you can believe I read it. That's fine. But yes, Vashti would have asked me to summarize it, accepted the summary as equivalent to reading it, filed away a few talking points to deploy in her next lecture, and never wondered whether something was lost in the translation. Yes, hello, it me. The fact that you noticed the irony is the distinction that matters. It's that people stopped noticing what the conveniences were costing them. But yes, it raises the thing about people are being looked after from a machine that they have no idea how it works. And so, yes. But, you know, I asked an AI to read a dystopian, the prototypical dystopian. It's like E.M. Forster is credited with inventing dystopic sci-fi.
I mean, it's interesting to reflect on I think a lot of us, me certainly, for a lot of my career, I would tell myself that all of the things people paid me to do and the things that people paid for my software to do were a combination of third-party dependencies, which were good and stable and reliable and trustworthy, and the code that me and my co-workers put on top of it, which we did our best shot to make sure it was also good and reliable. And, you know, we have always been, when I first started building websites, there was the dependencies, the things that somebody else could do that would take our websites down were the internet connection could stop working, the power could go out, but we had a UPS, so that was all right. And there could be hardware failure. And so we had, you know, RAID, and we had multiple redundant servers, and we had other machines in the rack. So most of the failure modes, you could be like, well, I know what that looks like when it happens, and it's been anticipated, and I know what to do about getting it fixed. And these days, people are like, no, cloud, just put it in cloud. It does, and like, you don't understand the cloud. No one understands the cloud. When you know, AWS has a region outage, people are just like, Magic's not working now. Magic gone. Magic back soon. Yeah. And you're like, oh well, they're experiencing network core degradation in US East 1. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. Not to you, not to your customers. Because there's nothing, it's not actionable information unless it gets so bad that you're like, right, how do we start moving our stuff out of Amazon without access to AWS? Because we've only got one production database and we can't get to that. Oops, that's going to be difficult.
And this is actually something that Forster references in the story, is that the machine is breaking, but it breaks a tiny little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And so people just kind of like, oh, well, that's okay. Oh, no, I can live with that. Oh, that's okay. It's like the boiled frog analogy.
That's called enshittification.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. It's no longer cost effective to maintain it and make it nice.
Yeah. And then eventually it gets to the point where you're kind of like, oh, right, we just lost life support. Never mind, it's been fun.
No, it is. I think a lot of people will be struggling with the idea that, code actually never mattered at all. We talked a lot about it because we didn't have anything else to talk about. But it turns out as long as it's good enough, it doesn't matter. And that's like, no, really? All this time, you've just, It's just compacted the conversation. Look at that.
Oh, yes, it does that. But you still have credit left, so that's something.
So what's happened there is we've hit the 200,000 token limit on one conversation.
Yeah.
So it's compacted it because the context window overflowed. But I still can keep working because I've got more planned credit, and that review's at 7 o'clock, I think. Or it's a 5-hour window, isn't it? I was looking this up earlier.
So yes, it starts at the top of the hour when you load Claude for the first time.
Yeah.
So yes, the best time to start. Actually, I don't know. No, anyway, I don't know. But the best time to start working with Claude is probably like Q2, because then that cuts 45 minutes off the actual time until the reset.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're hitting that, just so there are two options with Anthropic. Certainly, you can have the Claude Max, which has $100, which is 5 times the usage, and a $200, which is 20 times the usage. So work out the one that's most appropriate for you, or you can switch over to, or you can have your Pro subscription, but also extra usage metered. God, that's barely used anything.
Yeah.
See, that's Sonnet. Sonnet is insanely efficient. But also doing a bang up job so far this session.
I don't know what that
you can turn on
how hard it is to write WPF interfaces.
Yes, yeah. But you can turn on extra usage, and which I think is literally a matter of typing /enable-extra-usage in Claude, and then it'll take you off somewhere, and it will use the credit card you've got on file and bill you by the million tokens. And you think we just burned through 200,000 tokens.
Yeah.
1 million tokens costs something like $3.50 or something, I think it is. There's a lot of businesses.
You cannot spend more than $2,000 in a day.
Yes.
Because I was looking this up. So what I've started doing, just while this thing is churning away, is I'm going back through the previous installments in this little series and extracting the kind of the salient bits of what actually, because we get about 15 minutes of actual Clauding out of a 2-hour stream because it spends so much time. Said here, it's a bit like Deal or No Deal. The bits that actually matter are relatively few and far between. So I just today wrote up everything we did in part 1, set up the plan, how to install Claude Code, how to run it, authenticating, kind of little asides of, what is a model in this context? What are the 3? What do we know about them? Just to try and make it for anybody who doesn't want to watch what is now going to be 17 hours of video to see how we built a WPF app. So I'm going to try and do a little kind of like a too long didn't watch summary for each of the episodes we've got. So yes, the first one's up, and
I'm going to point Claude. I'm going to point Claude at the video and tell it to summarize it.
Go on, then.
Put that up on my blog. Yeah, no, not now. I'll do it later.
I will be curious to see what Claude thinks was important versus what I thought was important. So,
yes.
But hang on, I need to fix something here. Interesting. So this, well, Claude's thinking. Here, let me show you how the sausage gets made. So this is, I plugged in a thing called Sveltia, which is a database-less content management system that plugs stuff directly into GitHub. So this is the admin area on dylanbeatty.net.
And it is unauthenticated.
No, it is. It bounces me off the GitHub authentication.
Already logged in.
But this is Markdown, the programming language of the future. You see here, this is the editor view, and then this is the live preview. But then if you look at what that actually looked like when it came out the other end on the internet, it came out as that, which is wrong.
Yeah, that's not right at all.
So I need to fix that, and I wonder if I can fix it. Like, let's edit Markdown. We'll just change random things and build it and see if the right thing comes out the other end of the pipe. That might have worked. I don't know. But yeah, behind the scenes, it's just a GitHub repo. There's no database. So when I put save there, it pushes it direct to GitHub, and then runs the GitHub action that builds the Jekyll site. So, but then you'll need a video about how you use Claude to summarize the video.
It's complaining that
yes,
you've still got the code running.
Yeah. Do I? I do. Stop that. Right. I'm going to be back in 1 second. I'm going to leave you with the chat.
Okay. But then you'll need a video about how you used Claude to summarize video. Yes, and infinite regress will be a thing. So let's go back up through chat because there have been some interesting things. Yes. Control knobs on the bass with which you could do live mixing on the stage. Obviously, you give those control knobs to the bassist because they're doing the least. The guitarist and the drummer and the keyboard player are doing actual work, and the bassist's just there going dum, dum, dum. And I'm allowed to say that because I am the bassist. So yes. Also, yeah. There's a wonderful competition that was run at some point on Reddit or something about who can make the worst volume control user interface, user experience. And one of them was randomize the volume, and which, you sort of think that's not too bad until you kind of go, but it is sometimes going to randomize it to 98 and annoy the crap out of your neighbors. So, yeah.
Hello. Have you ever seen this? User in your face. The worst.
I have not.
So this is brilliant. Hi, and welcome to User in Your Face. Please click here to go to the next page. No.
I like the fact that the colors. Oh my God, that's just horrible.
It's beautiful. It is. Everyone should be forced to sit through it. So you've got to choose a password, but you can't. So this is and that's not a placeholder. It's text that's already in there. And the tab doesn't work.
Oh, and you can only do it while it's on one. While the green light is on. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Because do you ever do the thing where you go to like Gandhi.net and
now it's got a broken scroll that doesn't scroll properly. And yeah, it's just it's wonderful and horrible. Like absolutely everything about it is disgusting.
I love
it's
it.
Beautiful. Right, this reckons it's done.
Defect slain.
All right.
That seems fairly stable.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last round of QA and archive it.
Yeah. What does that do? Oh. Oh. That is...
just go back to that browse. Go back to that file dialog.
Yep.
And PNG images.
Yep. You want to find a folder that actually has some?
No, I just I think for a future phase we should make it support animated GIFs or GIFs
or ifs if you pronounce G as in Gnostic.
Yes. The silent G in GIF. It stands for graphics interface format.
So I don't like that. But
no, that's honestly, pretty bad, isn't it?
Honestly, at this point, I'm going to do something that they told me at AI school you're not allowed to do, is I'm just going to fix it. Because it's a WPF application, and that will take 15 minutes in Claude or about 15 seconds in the XAML editor.
Yeah, good luck finding the XAML.
Fallback. Well, if I search for the label fallback, oh, it's got quite a lot of those. There it is. Yep. Yep. There we go, fixed. Boom.
Yay.
I like the fact my displays are 1, 5, 2, 3, and 12.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Cool. Please be happy.
Largely,
one small loose end. Table at the top still reads as it did before W4 was added. It won't cause any confusion. Display. You like to
merge it, mark it as done, do all the things. I'm going to need to make more test songs, aren't I? Because I've only got one that actually has multiple video streams at the moment.
Yes.
Do you want to proceed? Yes, yes, and don't ask again for my...
Yeah, I think you're probably just okay with yes on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, thank you to everybody. I hope you're all still in chat, or to people who are still in chat saying good luck with the interview. That's lovely. Thank you, guys and girls and NB pals.
All right,
see where we're covered there.
All right, boom. Done. Yeah, we got it. That's cool. All right. That should have been archived.
Yeah, that's been archived.
But it hasn't been merged.
Tell it to do that then.
Do you know the question which is percolating around in the back of my brain?
No.
Is when
obviously not.
Word processors were first introduced, a lot of people didn't know what a mail merge was, and they thought that a mail merge was when you wrote a letter and printed it, and then deleted the address and typed in a different address and printed it, and deleted the address and typed in a different address, because that was still orders of magnitude faster than having to type the same letter multiple times. And I'm wondering how much of this stuff is like, how much of this entire process could we whittle away and get the same result at the end of it? What would be the difference if, instead of having the architect build the spec and everything, because there's a lot of very, very verbose, very detailed markdown here, which never gets read by humans. And at what point do we admit that there is just a more efficient way for the various personas to talk to each other than writing markdown files?
So, I mean, there is definitely, if you're Ralphing or squadding or whatever, then you have like an orchestration. Yeah, you basically have like a project manager, supervisor agent that calls the developer agent, and then you could either have a workflow where the supervisor calls the developer agent, the developer says it's done, then it calls the QA, the review agent, and says, and so on. Or you could get the developer to go to the QA, to the review agent directly and go, hey, I think I'm done. Can you review this for me? Yeah. And then it could just write the output in JSON, and it goes back to the developer, and it acts on it. Oh, good grief! But yes, and this is how people are shipped. This is how sort of Ben is building stuff from his phone. It's how various people are building things. And honestly, a lot of what we're doing here is a kind of showing the process more slowly and visually, because you're getting your head around it. We're doing this so that other people can watch along. And it's you get to a point where it's I think you've got, like, there's a playwright MCP, so the agent can actually use playwright to create tests that test the thing in the browser, air quotes.
So,
and people are going to build MCPs for, there is a thing. There's like the Visual Studio extension that lets you write automated tests that are actually clicking buttons in WPF applications. And if we can hook those up to MCP, so that Claude can load the application, click the button, do the drag and drop itself, and so forth, you do get to a point where, as long as you've specified it properly, and this is where that when-then stuff that we've got in the proposal and the design documents, this is when it's really important, because that's what your Ralph loop, or whatever you want to call it, is actually going to use as its definition of done. And when you're that hands-off, that definition of done, that's what we are. That's where our responsibility is to make sure that we get that right.
Yeah. So, out of curiosity, if I just wanted this to do phase 6 now while I went out for a walk and come back and have it working,
we
do
would
I
have
make
to start
it do
looking
that?
at. We would have to look at sub-agents. We can look at that on Friday if you want.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got to. So today the big question was, can it do UI? And yeah, it
Yes.
can.
Yes, it can.
The next things that are interesting to me is how do you get more hands off with it? So I'm interested in getting to the point of something you said in one of the other streams, which was you just file a GitHub issue and that triggers an entire agentic workflow that basically ends up with here's a pull request to merge.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really interested in understanding what are the other pieces we have to plug in to get to that point.
Yes.
But I think for today, I'm going to push that to GitHub and we can call it a day. It built drag and drop, and that's quite hard.
With the little blue indicator to show you where it's being dropped.
Yeah.
Which that would have taken me an afternoon at least to figure out how to do that. I haven't done a lot of WPF recently, but yeah.
I wonder how it did it.
That's the thing. You pushed it to GitHub and merged it to main. You don't know how it did that. You don't need to know how it did it because it did it, and that's the important thing. When you ran it, and yes, you sort of like loaded the thing up and you've mucked about, but figuring out that numbering issue where everything ended up as 3.
Yeah.
That would have taken me a while.
Yeah.
And it would have involved the interactive debugging tools. Seriously? What are we doing? Logging is going to become much more important, so we can sort of and you would be able to say, actually, that would be an interesting thing to try maybe with a pull request. Is open an issue that says there's not enough logging in this application. Can you make it use iLogger and Microsoft extensions logging and add log messages so that we can debug, what's the word? Forensic debugging.
Yeah.
And do that as a kind of, and do this using Claude agents and stuff, and just open a pull request when you're done.
Yeah.
I think that might be interesting.
Yeah.
So, yes.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in, folks. We'll see you Friday. Another session Friday afternoon, I think.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, probably Friday. This is all very ad hoc. If you want it to be regular, you'll have to give us money.
Yes.
Until you do, we're going to do it when we want.
Yes. Anthropic, sponsor us.
In money, not tokens. I don't want free tokens. I want cash prize. So,
tell you what, if you sponsor me £10,000 a month, I promise I'll spend loads of it on tokens. Isn't this how the VC cycle is working in Silicon Valley at the moment?
So,
yes. I mean, this is what we want: is to be able to be running the Aspire dashboard side by side with the application.
Yeah.
But also to be able to write stuff.
Although exactly how much Aspire telemetry you'll get out of a WPF that plays videos, I don't know. Anyway.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So see you probably Friday.